Monday, October 20th, 2025, Ag Advisory Meeting with San Mateo County will now come to order. I'm Natalie Sayre, and it is 6:13 p.m. We'll begin the meeting with roll call. James Oku, Natalie Sayre, present. John Vars, Peter Markey,
Yeah.
Ryan Casey,
Here.
Cole Mazaragio Sanastasio,
Here.
Crystal Shea, here. Daniel Theobald, Eric Hagstrom, Marilyn Johnson,
Here.
San Mateo County Ag Commissioner Corin Whittle,
Here.
Farm Bureau Exec Director Jess Brown,
Here.
UC Co-op Extension Rep Dr. Igor Lacon, San Mateo County Planning Liaison Olivia Boo.
Here.
Thank you. So I brought some candies in the middle of the table. If anybody wants to nibble, feel free to grab yourself one. We'll move to oral communications to allow the public to address the committee on any matter not on the agenda. If your subject is not on the agenda, the chair will recognize you at this time. Members of the public, have anything not on the agenda? Chair recognizes Carrie Burke.
I just want to encourage people to buy a ticket for our annual Farm Bureau Veterans Dinner. That's going to happen on November 7th, and it's a great event. And plus, so just if you have a chance, you'll really get to taste some wonderful local regrown products and also have a good time.
That long print?
Yeah.
Thank you. Where can they go to inquire about things?
The website. There's a website.
Okay, go to Farm Bureau website. Okay, go to Farm Bureau website.
And we had a really good pumpkin festival too here in town.
Good. Very good. Very important to have a pumpkin festival. Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else, member of the public? Okay. Moving on to the committee members that had items not on the agenda is actually not on the agenda, Olivia. Was that just a misstep or was that purposeful? Olivia?
Sorry, let me go back to the. Agenda.
Okay, it's actually at the end after the consent agenda and other items. It's not typically there. It's typically.
Oh, correct. It's number 8, correct?
Me to proceed and leave it as number 8, or was that just a mistake?
We can go ahead to number 8 and then continue with the agenda as it is. I mean, continue going back to number 4, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. So number 8, committee members' updates and or questions to allow committee members to share news and or concerns for items not on the agenda. Any committee members? The chair recognizes Peter Markey.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, there was a fire in San Gregorio. About 30 engines came and it burned about 20 acres, and the helicopters came over my reservoir with a snorkel, sucked the water out, and that water, that's non-potable water, was able to put the fire out really good, no problem at all. And the point that I'm making is, from the last meeting, is here we have a pipeline going all the way to Pescadero High School to eventually the firefighters to go there to use potable water to put out fires, where regular water will put out fires.
Okay, well said. And I think it should also be made aware that that was not on, the fire was not even, it wasn't on your property.
No, neighbor.
Just used your water for it. Okay, I'm glad that worked out and thank you for providing that water. So, anyone else, committee member for anything not on the agenda?
And then if there's no others, I have an Alejandro from Department of Housing is going to give an update.
Okay, Corin raised her hand, so, Corin go first and then Alejandro, and then I believe we have other committee members as well.
I'll
with
try to
information.
be quick here.
Fine.
We published our 2024 crop report, and so you can find it online at our website. And all the farmers that gave us information, we mailed those out. Should be in the mail. And then I passed out some to the Ag Advisory Committee members that I saw didn't get one in the mail, so. So everyone should have one. If you want to see it, you can see it online. We're gonna have our growers workshop. This is our annual workshop where we provide continuing education. We're gonna have that December 2nd at 10 a.m. at the Half Moon Bay Library. And then just a few pest alerts that are going around. Mediterranean fruit fly. There's a quarantine in Santa Clara County right now. It's fairly big. They did have a quarantine there last year, and they weren't catching any flies, so they eliminated the quarantine, but now they have found some wild Mediterranean fruit flies there. So if you are selling at farmers markets there, you might run into some mitigation that you have to go through for that. And then we do have the state, there's 3 new glassy wing sharpshooter infestations. This is a pest that spreads Pierce's disease and to grapevines. And so El Dorado County has a quarantine, Kings County and Stanislaus. Solano County has one that's about to be completed because they had a fine back in 2022. So it took this long to get through the whole quarantine with it. So it's hard to get rid of once you have it. So we do inspections of incoming nursery stock that may be infested with it from places in Southern California have glassy wing sharpshooters. So we're trying to keep it out. And then there is a new pest to be on the alert for, which is called the New World screwworm. And this was a pest back in the 60s and they eradicated it, pushed it back down. It's currently in Central America and South America, but it's been moving slowly up into Mexico. And so they have quarantined cattle from Mexico for it. California Department of Food and Agriculture and USDA are watching this really closely because if it gets in, it can get into the wild animal environment and cause a lot of havoc. So we're really trying to prepare for it, unfortunately, for it to get here. So if there's basically it lays eggs in wounds. And so a living animal, typically flies will lay in a dead animal, lay eggs, but this will actually do it in a living animal. So if there's something weird going on with that, with your animals, point it out to your vet and the vets will know how to get in contact or, reach out to me too. I can help kind of get in contact with the right person if you see something of that nature. And then, apiary registrations, there's always been a law on the books that people have to register their apiaries. We have been waiving the fees for apiary because the state's been working through the regulation for it. It's actually a state fee, not a county fee, but so now they're going to start collecting the fee. But I'm going to ask for a waiver for hobbyists. So that's anyone with 1 to 9 colonies. But those people still need to register their hives at their house. So that's anybody basically who keeps bees needs to register their hive. And this is really to protect bees because there is a pesticide notification that goes out too. So I know there's probably a lot of people that are hobbyists that don't register, but we would like to start getting in contact with those people and getting everybody registered. So that's all I have for now.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me finish up with the committee member updates before you move on to, you said the housing director update. Is that okay, Olivia?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else committee member updates of items not on the agenda? Okay, I have one, and it's regarding just the discussions that I've had with the county over the course of the last month, not regarding our subcommittee information that to be presented later, but just regarding the costs of being put on the members to provide our own packets. And I first asked our committee members, does everybody have the full packet in front of them?
I do.
Okay, so Peter, you do, Marilyn, you do? You do? Cole, you use the phone, Ryan?
Not in front of me.
Not in front of you, okay. Because my concern and what I voiced to the county is that we have items on this particular agenda that are 504 pages. So many of the committee members are small businesses that do not have large printing capabilities. So if we send it out to UPS store or Kinko's, it costs 10 cents per copy for a black and white, and that's on the average. And right now, a colored copy is 68 cents a copy. So this meeting alone, if we were to send out for the full packet, we're looking at about $68, okay, per member. And the problem is historically, we have not had items digitally on the board. And Marilyn, you can attest to this because you had discussed it a few meetings ago. There was a concern where a decision was made by the county that planners were no longer being required to present their project with the information on digital. So we had nothing. My concern from a committee standpoint is that we are put in a position to make decisions that we are not making informed decisions. The one project is 232 pages coming for us tonight. Another one, 152. The smallest one is 25. It's very difficult to remember those items from reading at home and here. It's costly. We're looking up to, in 12 months, over $800 of cost per member contributing their time. And as somebody once told me recently, it's not really justified that we're gonna volunteer our time and volunteer almost $1,000 a year. So I did talk to the county and they've agreed that they will have the agenda and the full, not just the agenda, I'm sorry, the full packet up there on digital for us at each meeting, and we can reference it. So if in fact we're going through an item that is a project and we have a question on it and we don't have the packet in front of us, instead of breaking a small home computer printer or spending $64 to $68 each meeting, we can say, hey, can you bring that item up on the board? And Olivia did send an email today saying that planners will be presenting their projects. So that's very good. I think, yes.
Natalie, did you ask if we could, I mean, I get mine mailed because I requested that when I first.
Yeah,
got on
I
the
did.
committee.
And what I was told, and I do have the email here, just make sure that I'm referencing it correctly, is here.
Did they say yay or no?
They said, moving forward, an additional change to your point will be that for few packets that are mailed, for some of them that are mailed, only the staff report will be printed. Attachment to staff reports will no longer be printed, included in the packet. This is consistent with other public meetings. So they will not be, you will have to either fork out $60 plus per meeting and print it yourself, or take a chance that you'll be able to retain the information and call on them, because they have said now they will record on the monitor at the meeting, so. Just to answer your question, certainly wasn't the answer you were hoping for, I'm sure. It definitely wasn't the one I was hoping for. It's very concerning and odd. I do know from an ADA standpoint, if you do have a disability, or if being able to retain the information and participate in an equal manner, and it impairs your ability to make an informed decision, you are in effect entitled to receive the information at a way that is accessible to you. And that's something that we can address, and I'd like to agendize for the next meeting. Are we all, can we do a vote to agendize that? I would like to move we agendize the cost of the administration for the next meeting for committee members and discuss some sort of viable option. Okay, we need a second. Okay, Cole seconds that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, I'm concerned that we're going to inhibit the ability of hardworking farmers who care to be able, especially those of the poor Hispanic communities, to be able to take part in our meetings. Okay, next. Thank you very much. And yes, and it will be on the board though, they've said, so that's good. The housing director, Olivia.
Yeah, one moment, please. Alejandro, I promoted you. There you go. You're promoted to panelist.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear that.
I just promoted Alejandro from Department of Housing to panelist.
Oh, okay.
Hi, good evening, committee members. This is Alejandro Segura, Housing Community Development Specialist with the Department of Housing. Just wanted to give you all a quick update that next month during next month's meeting, we'll be providing a presentation on updates for the Farm Labor Housing Loan Program that are currently being finalized. We couldn't make it onto this agenda as it is packed, but I did want to make sure to let you all know that updates are coming to the program, and during next month's meeting, we'll be ready to answer any questions and go through those updates with you all.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Next, the Planning and Building Department Director's report. Olivia.
One moment, please. Sorry.
Number
Oh,
5 is.
I'm so
the
sorry.
meeting minutes.
Thank you. Because that 8 was in a different place. It messed me up. Thank you very much. So action to set agenda and to approve consent agenda items. This item is to set the final consent and regular agenda and for the recommendation for approval or approval of the items listed on the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved by one action. I will read the first one is a consideration of meeting minutes for the August 11th, 2025 and September 8th, 2025 AAC meetings. I think we need to vote on that separately. For the August 11th, 2025, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I move to approve the August 11th meeting minutes.
It's been approved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Okay, thank you. It so passes. Consideration of the meeting minutes for the September 8th, 2025 AAC meeting. Do we have a motion to approve, disapprove, or discuss? Do you have a second? Just kidding.
I'll motion to approve.
Cole moves to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Crystal Shea seconds. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Nay. Okay, so,
Abstain, I was absent.
okay. So all those in favor, except for one abstain because she was absent, and that is Marilyn Johnson. So, thank you. So next is a consent agenda item. Consent agenda items are not up for discussion. So it's just a vote because nothing has changed on the agritourism report from the time before. I will give the information, but of course I will recuse myself from voting because it's my farm.
Nothing's changed from last year.
Nothing's changed from last year, so that's why they put it on consent. So it's owner applicant Daniel and Natalie Sayre, PLN 2025-00295. The location is 78 Colacitos Creek Road, unincorporated Half Moon Bay. Assessor's parcels numbers is a portion of 056380110, which was formerly 056380020, and a portion of 056380060. Consideration of an agritourism event for the temporary seasonal Santa Street Farm operation starting on November 22nd, 2025, and ending on January 5th, 2026. No operational changes from last season. Project planner Summer Burleson. There.
Yeah, just closing that this operation is my sister and brother-in-law, but I have no monetary gain on it, so therefore I could vote on it. I make a motion to approve to pass it as it stands.
1 second.
Okay, so, all those in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Okay, so it passes. Peter Markey moved to pass it and Marilyn Johnson seconded it. And number 7, owner applicant Water Solutions Incorporated, Joshua, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I apologize on your pronunciation, Skolnick, is that correct? Joshua Skolnick. Okay. File number PLN 2025-00081, west of Cabrillo Highway in the community of Pescadero, unincorporated, San Mateo County. APN number 086250140, 086250150, 086250160. Consideration of a coastal development permit, planned ag district PAD permit, and agriculture review permit for the drilling of a test domestic well to determine if adequate water is present to serve future development on an undeveloped 6.53 acre property. 2 well locations are identified as potential well sites, but only 1 well will be constructed and certified. The AAC previously recommended approval on June 12, 2022 for 3 test wells, PLN 2022-00211. However, all 3 previously approved test wells were not found to be viable. The project is located in the Cabrillo Highway State Scenic Corridor. The CDP is appealable to the Coastal Commission. Project planner is Kanoa
Kanoa Kelly.
Hi, Kanoa, I'm so sorry. Are you here?
No.
You're not here,
You might be
but
online.
that's okay, because we know she's
might be
gonna
online.
presenting, so Kanoa, welcome.
No,
It's consent.
Oh, it is?
I have a question.
Okay, sorry about that. So it is a consent. Yeah, Marilyn, go ahead.
Why isn't there an address? There's only parcel numbers.
There's no development on the property, it's just 2 empty lots.
So there's
Yeah.
no, but there's no address?
Usually you don't address it until there's an actual building, sorry.
Oh, it
As
is.
it was-
I'm sorry.
Is it next to the quarry in between where?
It's on Highway 1 on the bluffs.
Right, you know where the quarry is, where you go fishing?
Yeah,
Called the
yeah,
quarry?
yeah, it's
Is it
just past
from
them.
there south?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's south of the Savasco's nursery.
Right.
On the ocean side.
right. Okay, that was where I imagined it,
Yeah.
but I had, so that's the reason there was no address, is because there
No
isn't a
development.
development on it.
It's okay to discuss consent if it's for clarification purposes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That was a good question. So is there any other clarification questions regarding this? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move. Do we have a motion to approve, disapprove? motion?
I'll make a motion.
Peter Markey moves to say the whole motion.
I make a motion to pass to allow them to do the drilling on the property to see if they have water.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so Peter Markey approves and Cole Mazaravias and Asashio seconds. Everyone in favor, aye. Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so we have, 1, 2, 3. Brian, did you say aye? So we have 4 ayes, 1 nay. And, I'm going to abstain, because I need to reference the packet more. Next. Thank you. Number 9 is the Planning and Building Department Director's report. Olivia?
One moment, please.
Recording in progress.
Why is that camera? Oh, gee.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, for the director's report for the period of August 28th to September 30th. There were no new planned agricultural development permits that were heard or considered by the Board of Supervisors or the Planning Commission. There were no new planned agricultural development permits received by the Planning Department. And there were no coastal development exemptions for ag projects that were submitted during this time. The next meeting is November 10th. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 10, committee survey results on committee functioning and effectiveness. Presenter Debbie Schechter, Schechter Consulting.
Hi, I'm here. Where should I stand?
You can come over
There.
here.
See you in-
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to stand?
Yeah, I'll stand.
She can sit here.
Just
Right here. Where's
Right
the,
here is
where's the
fine.
camera? Oh, there's the
Cameras.
camera.
We have multiple cameras
Okay.
actually, but yeah, this one I think is.
Okay,
It
great.
reacts to the sound, I think.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Most of you met me a couple of months ago, or a few months ago, when I talked with you about how I'm here to support you all and the county in making sure that you all are effective as a committee. Most of you took the survey that was sent out in August and September. So today I wanted to briefly go over the survey results. I think you received a copy of the presentation.
I did.
And
Okay.
Debbie, I don't have
Yeah.
it on screen in one moment.
Oh, great. Thanks, Olivia. So I'm going to briefly go over the results. I'm not going to cover everything in detail because you'll have an opportunity, if you haven't already, to look at it yourself. And then we'll spend a little more time on this item in November when we'll really try to hone in on some next steps. But if you want to put it up, Olivia, that would be great. So I really appreciate most of you took the time to fill out the survey, which asked about how the committee is working and what can be improved. I believe we had 12 responses, no, 10 responses. So just a handful of folks who didn't fill it out. Thanks, Olivia. If you could go to the next slide. So this is the slide I'm going to spend the most time on. There were some pretty clear themes that came out from the survey.
Is
And
there any way to make it full screen?
yeah, she should be able to. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's still showing up in not presentation mode.
Let me see if I can change this one moment.
So when I say themes or, sort of commonalities, that means that more than 2 or more people shared these sentiments.
Is that any better?
No, but in the interest of time, maybe just click on the next slide, and again, you all can take a look at this when you get a chance in more detail.
Sorry, Debbie, what page are you on now?
That one, that's good. So I'll spend a little time on this. Clearly, all of you are here to promote and support agriculture in the county and to serve stakeholders, and you want to be useful. So that was something I heard from pretty much everyone. Another common theme was feeling like the role of the committee needs some clarification, both overall the committee's role and the role with regard to specific projects. And this one was really interesting because some people felt like the committee is underutilized, meaning some committee members feel like you should have more of a role than you do. And other people felt like maybe the committee is overreaching and trying to have more of a role than you've been given. So clearly a need for the committee and the county to work together to clarify the role. Need for improved meeting processes and training / knowledge for both county staff and commission members. So that was a really key theme, that people felt like the meetings themselves could be improved, and that both county staff and committee members need to have some common knowledge about both issues and effective meeting processes. And then finally, the need for collaboration and respect among the county, committee members, stakeholders, and other groups that you all work with. So I hope those resonate for you, because most of those I heard from many of you. Next slide, please. So just really quick, we asked how long you've been on the committee. So most of you have been on the committee for more than 3 years, and then there's a few of you who are newer. Next slide, please. I said there were 10 responses. 8 came from voting members and 2 came from non-voting members. Next slide, please. Why? So we asked why you joined the AAC. Again, you all want to promote and support and protect agriculture in the county. You want to gain knowledge and understand the development rules better, provide your perspective and expertise. And then a couple of people talked about sort of the legacy of farming and their families farming. So the next slide, please. We asked specifically how well you understand your role as a member of the AAC. So a lot of people said pretty well, some said very well, and some said understand some things, but not others. But again, a lot of people had comments about the role not being clear. So you may have an understanding of the role, but there's kind of different understandings of the role. Next slide, please. So we asked how effective is the AAC in a couple of areas. One, achieving its purpose and role. There's some room for improvement here, right? So 40% said somewhat effective, and then it's split between neutral, ineffective, and somewhat ineffective. Nobody said very effective. So definitely feeling like you can be more effective in achieving your role and purpose. Next slide, please. So how effective is the AAC in holding productive meetings? Again, a lot of room for improvement here. Next slide, please. I'm not going to read through all of these. Again, you have it. You can look at it and we can talk about it more. But I think that some of the strengths that folks felt were that you all really want to support agriculture, that you have knowledge and want to share that. that you are connected to the community and farmers and can represent them, that you have diversity amongst yourselves and your perspectives, and that you really want the committee to be effective. Some of the challenges, next slide, please. Again, this is where the role issue came up, that lack of role clarity is a challenge, that meetings could be more effective, the relationship between the county and the committee could be improved, and collaboration with others could be improved. Next slide, please. So the two of the questions were about what can be done to improve the effectiveness of the committee. And then the following one was what can be done to improve the meetings. And I got a lot of overlap in the responses to those questions. So some people, some of the things were duplicated, and I left those as they were. So again, role clarification, training, collaboration, and then this is getting to what Natalie was saying earlier about that you all need the relevant information in order to provide your opinion and perspectives on projects. Next slide, please. What can be done to improve the meetings? Having a clear and focused meeting structure and agendas that are followed, training on effective meetings, a standard for how meetings are held. So are they hybrid? Are they recorded? What does the secretary do? How are minutes put together? How do Zoom attendees participate? Those kinds of things. And then asking the AAC for input on policy issues that affect agriculture. Again, that gets to the role. Next slide, please. So we asked how the AAC and the county can best work together to accomplish the committee's purpose. The things we've already said before: improving communication and respect, clarifying the role, improving the effectiveness of the AAC's input. And then finally, next slide, please. We asked about top 2 priorities for the AAC to accomplish over the next 2 to 3 years. So the first one is, really kind of, I think your overall goal is keeping agriculture thriving on the coast, shaping the future of agriculture. And then related to the workshop that you all had in the subcommittee, recommending revisions to policies and regulations to promote agriculture. Another priority was working more effectively with the county. I really like this quote from one of you: be a committee that the county wants to work with and is respectful of our input. And then finally, improving connections to the community. So I felt like all the responses were all really thoughtful and show your all's commitment to this committee. So I am working on coming up with some next steps for how to work with you all and with the county to clarify some of the things, make some improvements, help you be as effective as you can be. The first thing I'm going to do is meet with the county staff and talk about some ideas. And then we're going to bring this back to your next meeting in November with some specific ideas for next steps and get your input on those. So knowing we'll have another chance to talk about this, any questions, comments?
You were very nice to work with. I have to say, the way you put it together and the lengths that you went to gather input and make that something that people could easily provide, it just was really well done in my opinion. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I look forward to continuing to work with you all. Anything else? All right.
Thank you. Next, thank you, Heather. Next is number 12. On the regular.
No.
11. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Next is number 11. Presentation on proposed farm labor housing water system program. Presenter Heather Forshee. I apologize, Heather, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Perfect.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I almost skipped over you.
Yes, please.
Director of Environmental Health Services.
Everyone, thank you for having me back again. I'm afraid to admit that this is the same PowerPoint presentation that I shared last time, so please don't go to sleep. I do want to start by introducing our newest member of our water program, Maria Gomez Casillas, who's right behind. She's recently promoted to our water specialist, or lead for, and most of you know Ed Diaz over here. So this is the full water complement for San Mateo County. Let me just pull this up briefly. I am on Zoom, but I'm not I'm not a panelist yet.
Olivia, can you make Heather a panelist?
Yeah.
Thank you. And while I am, oh, there we go. I'm gonna stay muted since I've got this owl in front of me. So I'm gonna share my screen right here. Share. This is, I'm not sure what this is. This is not it. Where did it go? Alrighty, move this down here. It's up here. Here we go. What does it look like? Oh, much better. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move at a pretty good clip through this since I went through it last time, and then spend a little bit more time on answering the questions that you asked me last time that I couldn't answer, if that's all right. So, all right, so during the safety checks conducted on the farm labor housing units, there were two issues that rose to the surface, no pun intended, and the first being safe drinking water, and the second being issues around wastewater disposal. And 21 water systems serving about 35 farm labor housing units tested positive for the presence of total coliforms and or E. coli. That is 21 of 34. And so that's a 62% positive rate. And some of the reasons why, observations were well covers were missing. There had been recent work done on the well, and the well wasn't disinfected afterwards. There were cracks in the water lines that were bringing in, dirt, and so a lot of it was maybe a lack of awareness around disinfecting wells, and then also making sure that the wells were sealed tight. As I mentioned last time, 8 boil water notices were issued, and water sampling was conducted repeatedly until the water was confirmed to be potable, and then we stepped back. And wastewater disposal serving 18 farm labor housing units required corrective action. And what we saw there, largely, there were two main challenges. One, there was some housing that was using holding tanks, and then there was some that were piped. The wastewater was piped into an existing septic system that had additional connections that we hadn't had the opportunity to confirm that the system could support. So this is just a review. We're not going to go into all of the public water systems. I've got a link for those of you who want to refamiliarize yourselves with the definition of public water systems, but this is for residential water systems. And public water system starts with 15 service connections, essentially 15 homes or a 15 unit apartment complex with 25 or more. Basically, it's residents, sorry. 15 service connections. The next step down would be a state small water system. That's also regulated by the state or their state regulations, but those regulations are administered by local environmental health departments throughout the state, and that's 5 to 14 service connections. And then sorry about that. Then there are those domestic wells or water sources that serve 1 to 4 residential service connections that are not currently regulated in any local or state state statute. And as many of you know, when you go to drill a well, the only thing that needs to happen after the well is drilled is that you need to verify that the water is potable and that there's enough of it. Once you do that, through initial testing, then the water is issued a one-time permit, and then the building process continues and finalizes, and we don't see you again in environmental health. So these slides will be made available to you. These are the links that you asked for last time. You wanted to know where the task force report is located. It's actually on the county's website, and it's there as a PDF. There's a link to the definition of public water systems and the regulations if any of you is really, really bored and wants to dig super deep into that. Those are the links to those state regulations. What we were proposing, because there was a greater than 60% failure rate for this subset of water systems, is a new farm labor housing water system that would fill that gap below the state small requirement, and that would be 1 to 4 service connections that serve at least 1 farm labor housing unit. And we pulled the definition of a farm labor housing unit out of the, I believe it's the planning department or the planning code, building code, which is at least 1, but not more than 4 service connections of it, of which at least 1 connection serves a farm labor housing unit. And then again, we pulled the definition of farm labor housing from the farm labor housing policy, and to align it with the county's farm labor housing permitting program. And basically it would be that farm labor housing that is eligible for or already permitted under the planning department's farm labor housing permitting program. And that program is based on zoning districts. These are the zoning districts that are identified in the county's farm labor housing policy: the planning agricultural district, the resource management district, and the timberland preserve zone. Now, what this would do is it would extend the protection currently provided to residents with state small and public water systems down to this tier of water system users who are defined as farm labor housing water systems. It would require ongoing water sampling, for BACT, for coliforms, and annually or more often only if conditions exist, and for other contaminants if they're identified, such as nitrates. Let's say you or your neighbor has identified a nitrate plume in the area, and your system looks vulnerable to that. We would ask that you test it 1 time for nitrates. Nitrates, unlike coliforms, those test results don't change quickly. It takes many years of of changes to the aquifer before a negative nitrate will become a positive nitrate. But if it, if there's evidence in in the community, we would want to make sure that your water system is negative for that. And it would also subject the water system to regular inspections consistent with state small water systems. And as I mentioned, the observations that the farm labor housing units or the water systems that were associated with the farm labor housing is that there was a lot of there wasn't the same level of focus on many of these wells that are seen in some of the state small water systems, and so making regular site visits, we believe, is critical to protecting public health. So initially, we were thinking, 50 plus or minus are eligible for oversight. We believe that number is going to be a little bit lower, probably somewhere between 35 and 40. And that will fall into this 1 to 4 service connections. We believe that it's going to take about 2 years, 2 years to get the program off the ground. And our annual permit has been identified as being about $2,300. As I mentioned before, the county has provided for support for farm labor housing projects and efforts through June of 2027, and we would employ that resource to get that work up off of the ground so that the fees are not needed to support the program. And I think somebody had asked earlier what kind of funding or is funding being considered to offset the cost for the permit fees, and Supervisor Mueller and County Executive Office are looking for opportunities to do that. And those conversations are moving independently of this at the moment, but
Question.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So you're saying that the services from 1 to 4 that serves 1 to 4 hookups connections would be changed to a state small? Is that?
No, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the oversight of the state smalls and bring them to the lower tier, smaller water systems, meaning regular inspections and regular bacteriological testing. But, basically right now, ongoing oversight stops at 5 service connections. And what we're trying to do is we want to take it down and take elements of the state small level of protection that state small water system regulations provide for those water systems and take them to this tier of water system.
I don't quite understand. So you're trying to, I don't follow what you're trying to get.
She's trying to make another tier, essentially.
So you'll get inspected more often.
Well, no. So
No.
state small water
what I-
systems
what
are
I'm
what
getting-
they are.
What I'm hearing, and I'm probably hearing it wrong. If you're on a state small, you would be getting inspected more.
Nope. No, this is not going to change the state small water system requirements. What this is doing is it's taking elements of state small regulations and applying them to the next tier down, which is the 1 to 4 service connections, which includes regular bacteriological sampling and regular inspections. So it's basically proactive oversight, similar to state small water systems. State small water system regulations are what they are. This is creating a tier below that.
The number that.
1 to 4.
1 to 4.
But
if-
what was the tier
above
above
it's
that? 5 to 14 or 5 to 5 to
You
14.
said at last meeting, if you're under the state guidelines, don't worry about it, you're under still.
Exactly.
Stay the same.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically what you're trying to do is bring it down to 1 to 4, so they'd be like above 4, kind of the same, be checked more regularly. So we're trying to do.
Okay, so let's look at this slide right here. So what those changes to the ordinance would do would be to focus on the domestic well water sources that serve 1 to 4 connections. And there would be a subset, there would be any water system, any well that serves 1 to 4 connections that has a farm labor housing unit on it would be subject to this new oversight, this new tier.
And everything else is state of checks.
Everything else stays the same.
So basically, you, rather than the 1 to 4 like it was before, if it passed, it didn't bother you, you want to have regular checking.
If you have farm labor housing on it. If you don't have farm labor housing on it, then it would not, then it would remain the same. It would be, you know, initial test and then we're done.
Thanks for explaining.
Thanks for slowing me down a little bit. All right, sorry about that. Okay. I think we talked about this. Okay, so as I discussed, I shared with you last time, we are prepared to make changes to our design manual immediately after having discussions with the Regional Water Quality Control Board. They've given us the green light to make minor changes, which are outlined here. Anything more than that, as many of you know, is part of, would be essentially an amendment to our local area management plan, which is approved by, it has to be approved by the regional board before we could implement it. And that is a formal process. And so we have committed to undertaking a formal review of our local area management plan, but that's a bigger lift and that's going to take a longer runway. We wanted to find some low-hanging fruit that the regional board would not force us to do a formal review on. And so we discussed this as an option, and they said that this was a minor change to our design policies, and that would be acceptable. So the longer runway is that we will be going out for an request for information, RFI, to hire a consultant to help us revisit our ordinance for our on-site wastewater treatment systems, and review our local area management plan. And then, you know, if and when we make changes to the ordinance and, you know, more formal changes to the design manual, there's significant changes. We would then package all of that up, and then we would send it to the regional board, and they would then do a formal review and go through all of the steps that they do. And so that we're looking at least probably a year and a quarter before the regional board will be reviewing that.
And then another quick question.
Yes.
On the third bullet point there, it says farm labor housing unit is added under residential system sizing and secondary dwelling units of less than 750 square feet is treated the same as ADUs when connecting to existing systems.
Right.
So in other words, are you trying to say that if they're small, like 750 feet or less, it's treated the same as the ADU? And how is the ADU treated?
Similar to like a bedroom addition. So if the system can accommodate farm labor housing unit and one ADU, we just look at it as a bedroom addition. So, you know, if the system can accommodate the wastewater load generated from that, then you wouldn't have to do anything to the existing system, as long as it meets the current standards.
Okay, so it's just like adding an extra bedroom, so
Correct.
you don't need a large septic system, and if the ADU needs water, it just connects to the existing water from the
So
existing
this
structure.
is out, talking out.
Yeah, we're talking about
Wastewater.
on-site wastewater treatment
Right.
systems, septic system.
Right. Right, exactly. And so, you know, typically what happens if you're going to build another residence on the property, it requires its own calculation, its own septic system. And what we were able to negotiate in this minor revision is if it's small, then we've changed the language, and we can use ADU and farm labor housing interchangeably in the existing ordinance, and we treat them the same. It's a bedroom addition. And so what that will do is, for at least some folks, it'll be a lot less expensive to hook up a farm labor housing unit to an existing system, assuming the system is sized well enough to support the additional waste. This is one, this is low hanging fruit. This is one easy way that we could find that would make it a lot less expensive to, create wastewater.
It sounds
Disposal.
logical.
All right, so timeline. Again, the minor updates to the outs manual, systems manual, technical manual, matter of weeks. We just wanted to get this through everybody so that you could ruminate and provide feedback. And then our water system ordinance changes. We're hoping for December of 2025. It's much meatier than we thought it would be. And because we had to actually reconfigure our wells ordinance as well, because they work hand in hand. And so we've given a lot of extra work to our attorney who's piecing it together, and she needs a little bit of extra time. Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, implementation of the farm labor housing program, it would be, if the board approves it, then we would get to work immediately to reach out to those who we believe are eligible and, determine conclusively whether you would fit under the new ordinance or not. So with that, did this group want me just to rattle off answers to the questions, or do you want to the questions that you asked me last time that I couldn't answer, or would you prefer to throw out questions?
Hey, Heather, I just need to just add a comment. We're very tight on time.
Okay.
And we have 2 projects that 3 more items actually.
Got it.
I'm not sure what the options are in terms of, because I know there's probably more questions.
I think it would be prudent to have you just read off the answers to the previous questions, because I'm assuming some people might not remember what they asked before. Is that an agreement to the committee?
Yes.
And then if there's time after that, or if she feels it's okay, then go ahead and ask follow-up. But yes, but go ahead and read them off.
Okay, so I will do my best to skip the ones that I believe I answered in the updated PowerPoint. Let's see. So as I mentioned, 21 positive of 34 tested, 62% fail rate. That was a question that you have. More staff to deal with septic issues. We're recruiting. We have 2 vacancies, and we're working really hard to get new staff on board. So if you know anybody, have them check the website. Let's see, testing frequency is dependent on the type of water system, as I mentioned. We borrowed some of the language from, and we got a lot of these ideas from the Monterey County ordinance and aligned where we could, where it made sense. And so the testing frequency is less to do with the size directly and more to do with what category that you drop into the type of water system that you are. We talked a little bit about the fee relief extension. And again, Supervisor Mueller had mentioned that he was looking into it. Let's see. For those very few of you who may not be aware, when you drill a well, in order to have it permitted or certified, you have to run a panel and have your water analyzed for a number of constituents to make sure that the water is potable. And that includes primary standards, nitrates, and it also includes coliform testing. And so as long as that was done one time, with the exception of coliform, and we have that in our system somewhere, we have evidence that it was done and even certified, then we feel comfortable not asking that it be done again. And then we would just pick up where we left off and just start with regular coliform testing. The testing would be the owner or the operator's responsibility, as it is currently with state small water system operators. And let's see. Yes. Right, there was a question about Pescadero CSA 11. This ordinance would be countywide, and this would be not just Pescadero. It's for anyone or any water system in the unincorporated area that provides water to farm labor housing, and that isn't already regulated under a public water system or state small water system. So we're trying to capture those super small ones that are otherwise not monitored. Yes, the task force results are public. They're online. Let's see, check for that. Explain why things are positive. So if any, and I'm sure all of you know this, this was a question last time, if a water system operator, or if an inspector learns that there's something that is not, something about the well or the water system that is not functioning correctly, or that you've got, chronic coliform problems, then the first thing you would do is, as most of you know, is you would find a well service provider and get some help around that. We can provide some assistance. Usually it starts with doing a visual review of your water system, and then try disinfecting it to flush it. But if there's some bigger problems, you're going to need to enlist somebody who can help you and look at it more closely. Let's see. Oh, distribution operator certification? No. If somebody really wants to become a distribution system operator, you're more than welcome to. It's certainly very interesting to learn about, but we're not requiring any formal certification to run your water system. We just want you to be able to show that it's negative for coliforms on a regular interval, and that that the water system is in good repair. Let's see. The things that we are relaxing from the state small water system regulations, it's bacteriological. Again, we aligned with Monterey. Monterey felt that annually was sufficient on these super small water systems. And there's less flexibility around state small water systems when it comes to treatment technologies. And we felt that after communicating with Monterey County, that there is the ability to be more flexible, for point of entry technologies, depending upon what the treatment technology is. And we just didn't want to close the door to all technologies that are already not allowed at the state small level. So we would be certainly more flexible around the treatment technologies, because the whole point would be to keep the water system potable and the water coming through the pipes. Okay, I think I covered everything.
Okay. Did anybody have follow-ups to those questions, or a question that wasn't covered?
I just have a question. The places that the task force found, they're all were farm labor housing, farm laborers were living there? Is that the
Yes.
34 you're talking about?
Yes.
So those will all be converted to farm worker housing now, with bringing up the water standards? Those are going to be farm worker housing?
So we're merging state regulations here. So state housing regulations, farm labor housing regulations stops at 5. So housing regulations require inspections of the buildings and, the way that farm labor housing is. And I know a number of you have those permits with the housing program and environmental health. This is 1 to 4. There is no inspection program for the housing on the property. All we're focusing on here is the water. As I mentioned, it's the water quality and quantity, making sure that these water systems and these residences that are on the properties are receiving potable water. Now, if you take a step back, all rental homes are supposed to, provide potable water anyway, but there isn't anything, there is no structure in place. And all this is that there's a structure in place to monitor this subset of rental. It's essentially rental properties.
Right. Thank you.
I think first.
Hi Heather, thanks so much, and really appreciate the vigilance that you and your staff have on this important matter of water quality. But this will, with the permit fee and then the testing costs, I mean, it will be a bit of a financial burden to the property owners. And as an offset, is there any way with storage? Because I mean, water quality is the most important thing. But if you have that housing, could there be some level of flexibility on storage? Because at times, even though initially you have a well that produces pretty, has a good quantity, as long as that quality is there or you have adequate treatment, that maybe there could be some accommodation so that they can retain our housing stock, but have a little extra storage and still, be able to house our folks that are working on our farm. So hopefully that can be built into the system with regards to the amount of storage that would be necessary.
Right, and I do want to address that specifically. I know that there's a lot of questions around what are we doing with these existing systems? The goal is not to create barriers. The goal is to make sure that we take all of the water systems that are currently in place and to get to however we need to get to make the water safe to drink. And to that end, you're absolutely right. Over time, you do lose you lose some gallonage. Thank you. And if we have to figure it out, right? We add more storage. There is a balance, as you know, and if your storage is too great, what tends to happen is the water stagnates, and then you're in a vicious cycle of draining. Nobody wants to drain a tank, 1,000-gallon tank. That's just a disaster. But the more storage you have, it ends up becoming a liability. And so, the whole goal is to make sure that these systems have enough water to provide. And if that means we add more storage, we add more storage. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So just a point of clarification. So the $2,300 only includes the permit fee. So that includes like staff time, inspection time, etc. But just clarifying that does not include any type of testing.
No,
that's on your own and separate.
Our hope is that when a water system comes online or a well comes online in initial construction, all of these constituents are sampled for.
Right.
And so when we roll in, this is our expectation, our assumption is that everybody's already had this done and we don't have to worry about those one-time samplings that was required when you brought the well online in the first place. And so in a perfect world, the cost is the back T sample. And last time I checked, that back T sample is what, $40?
It's like $24, I think.
At the public health lab, it's somewhere,
30.
it's not $40. And so that would be
Yeah,
$40
it's like
a
20,
year
yeah.
at most. If you did it yourself. If you paid somebody to do it, that's a little bit more. But it'd be a lot more actually.
I have 2 questions. Is one regarding, you mentioned working to try to find some funding to offset permit fees. Since this does fall under the umbrella of farm labor housing, it's you're using it for that purpose. It's been argued that even a lot of farm labor housing things that are put into place that are new aren't even needed. Whereas this, if in fact is needed and what you're trying to do, can some of those funds from Measure K or from the grant programs, the very famous one that we all know about, that kind of stuff, can you seek and possibly be eligible for those to offset? Because when we're looking at a committee, our mission is to keep farming here on the coast.
Right.
I'm concerned 10 years from now, everything we're doing is going to be for nothing because people's farms are going to go under with these increased costs.
Right.
So is that a possible outlet for funding?
It is certainly something to consider. It wouldn't be my decision to make. I would, and I don't want to, I don't want to commit other people to that, but these fees and offsetting these fees is something that is the focal point.
So when you're working on it, is that something you'd be okay if you think it's possibly viable bringing to whoever is in charge of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. for
Yes.
that. And then secondly, you mentioned input, inviting our input as a committee. So is that something you said to kind of mill it over and then get that back to you? Are you coming again at a subsequent meeting that we can provide our input to you? I just want to make sure that's not a ball that gets dropped.
Right. So unfortunately, I didn't have any plans to come back, I can share all of my contact information, Ed's contact information, and we can, we can collect feedback directly. Or as a committee, I don't know how that works, whether the committee provides recommendations or individuals. We certainly get emails from some of you individually, and suggestions.
I think as long as we're not representing the committee, but we're providing input as individuals, I think that's okay. Olivia, please tell me if I'm incorrect. And if so, could you provide that email information before you in your presentation, and we'll all
Sure.
write it down?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I just worry because too many balls get dropped, and I just don't want that to happen either. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It'd be hard for you to come back if you're gonna have this done by December.
If you want me to
With
come
only-
back,
with
I will
only,
come
like,
back.
One meeting maybe in November and maybe one in December.
Well, then we can just, we can push it to January.
Well, I
If,
appreciate that. 'cause
if,
it's just
if you
like-
want me to come back, I'll come back.
That's just been an ongoing issue, unfortunately, is that people are coming to us and saying, as a committee or as individuals, we want your input. We're here for you to give us your input. And then we never see them again. And they often come 2 weeks before, or 2 months, or a month before their project is done.
Right.
So to Bridget's point, there's no time for you to come back. So that's why we don't want that to continue to happen. Cole.
No, I appreciate the efforts to bring up water quality. I think it's obviously pretty clear that the results are very necessary.
Yes.
I think that the funding issue though, or the issue of actually covering the cost, I think is very important. I think if you have, let's say 10 units, if the cost being passed on to the tenants, it's not a lot. It's like $20 a month basically per unit. But if you're dealing with like one unit with one water system, that's about $2,300 if it's passed on is $200 a month, give or take, increase in rent,
Right.
which is sizable for a lot of families. And I think the county's had a lot of great efforts to try and address some of the affordability issues with housing, farm work housing in particular. I think in recent recent years, and I hate to see like this counteract that in any way. So I'm just a bit concerned about the unintended consequences or unintended effects of this on affordability. So I do think that trying to have a funding plan for this prior to passing it would be my thought. I think it definitely should be passed. I just think there needs to be a funding thing, because otherwise it kind of contributes to the same type of affordability crisis that's led to a lot of the problems we have with farm worker housing otherwise.
Understood.
It's a good point. Peter Markey?
I just have a quick comment. I know you probably can't answer this, but here a while back, a few months ago, I sent a letter to the county board of supervisors that because our property is adjacent to the CSA 11 wells, that would be offering to pay a one-time hookup fee of $150,000 to be hooked up to CSA 11, because to us, it would be better if we didn't have to worry about dealing with the well or anything like that there. And the letter that came back that it was economically not feasible, costs a lot of money to do that. But my gripe is that, it's just a personal gripe, is that they have millions of dollars to extend the main pipe to the high school to eventually have the fire department go there to use that precious potable water to put out fires, where my precious water would be used if we're hooked up for humane consumption. And so it just kind of digests, it's not too well there.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna end my share screen. Please let me know if you want me to come back, and we'll delay it.
That's actually a really nice offer. Committee, would you like her to come back, or would you like to receive her email to send feedback that way? I would have hoped that this would have been something that came before our committee for recommendations from us, like the various ag projects on ag land, because I think it would have been helpful to what you're doing. So a little bit of chasing after the fact, and I think that hurts. It hurts all involved. But I think, what do you think? Have them come
I'd
back?
like to see her come back, because water is very important.
It is, and I appreciate your presentation, and I appreciate your offer very much so about that. Committee, how do you all feel about that? Are you in agreement that you'd like her, Marilyn.
Cole made a real poignant point
Yeah,
about the cost. And if that could be incorporated in the ordinance or whatever rules you're going to make,
yes.
that would be super helpful. I didn't realize how it would affect you and the tenants.
The breakdown.
Yeah, the breakdown.
Well, I think
So,
it's tough because we're trying to
Yeah.
decrease for tenants at this time, and then this is getting in the way of that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if at least it's covered, at the very least partially, I think then I have no more questions, like, by all means, pass this. I think that's just the only concern, is just we've made a lot of progress trying to get towards having more affordability for farm worker housing. And this is a little bit going opposite direction, for a good cause, but, by all means, but just the one concern.
Right, that's well said, yes.
what if the permit fee was reduced?
Yeah.
Right.
That would probably be something.
I don't know if you could reduce it,
But
but
if there's funding that's needed to help you to reduce it, whatever, I mean, we're
Right.
not trying to, but, yeah.
Right.
Good, Pierre,
I make a motion that she comes back next meeting.
do we have a second? Okay,
When's the next
Okay.
meeting?
November
so
10th.
all those in favor?
well, what is she gonna
purpose?
say?
Well, she's gonna come, she asked us to mill over, our input, with the information she gave us, so that we could provide input to her. And so that gives us time to think it over and provide more. Cole, what he provided was very good. Perhaps we can add to that. Perhaps we can put it in writing. Perhaps we can come up with more. I think when you said mull it over, you meant, not just within 5 minutes, hence the definition of that word. So I think it would be a good thing. And I appreciate her offer to do so. But certainly, if you guys want to vote on it, we have a motion on the floor
And she seconded it.
and she seconded. So all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay, I don't know that in a month we're gonna have much more to give her, but what we gave her tonight. But I don't have any farm labor housing, so that's just, I'm just a public member, so.
No, you're more than that. You're a
You're,
concerned
It's also
public
right
member.
before
We
the
appreciate
Veterans
it.
Hall.
So-
I don't know if we get the
That's just
Monday or
why
the
I
Tuesday.
vote.
Right, and
We
I
get the
feel that, I
Tuesday.
understand.
The 11th.
The yays do have it though, so, but I appreciate you saying that, Marilyn. So thank you for your
Sure.
offer, and if we could please agendize her for the November meeting.
And just to clarify, I will not be available. Ed, Maria, will the two of you be available for Monday, the 10th, to join a Zoom call? Okay,
Are you available December's meeting?
let's see if Ed's available in November.
In December, you want to go to the board, it's the water ordinance.
Before December, or on December.
Right, I mean, we'd like to keep this moving, and so I just want to make sure that Ed might be
Ed,
available
would
by
you be
Zoom.
able To do the November, and I believe you could do it via Zoom.
I don't know what would change. Like,
Yeah.
it's already pretty much written.
Yeah, tentatively, yeah, the November 10th, yes.
Well, maybe he can come back and tell us that, yes, we did find funding and you don't have to pay the 2,300 for the
Like
next
it.
5 years
Right,
or whatever. That
right.
would be great.
That's the
Yeah,
challenge.
on
A quick
both
Zoom.
sides, if you get information that, okay, you can use some of the Measure K funds, or you can use this toward
But
this,
they're
or whatever.
working-
In the interim, you can bring that to the meetings as well. So Ed, last name,
Diaz.
I've talked to you in the past, and I appreciate it, very smart man. Ed will be here at the November meeting, and Ed Diaz, thank you for that. If you want to put that on agenda, Olivia and Bridget.
I just need a point of clarification, your board, but what would change just the funding? Like, oh, great, we found funding, because like everything else is written in the ordinance right now. You're not asking them to change any of it. We've seen it twice. And the funding's covered for the next for the next 2 years. I mean, till 2027.
June
But
27th.
is
June
that
of
funding for
27.
the permit?
So that, yes,
Yeah.
that's for the permit.
For the permit.
Yes.
Okay, so.
And so for the fees honestly, like the amount of things you listed up there for the fees for the testing is on you no matter what, and it's on every applicant going all the way to 15 plus units. And really, it's a steal of a deal if you only have to do like nitrates, back tea, and whatever else you said that might be coming under that. That's like minimal cost comparatively to like, we pay like thousands of dollars a year to like for 5 to 14. So, I mean, that portion of it, I mean, it's almost like it's a expense cost that you just have to, it's an overhead that we have to figure out. But the other part, again, it's already done for 2 years, so we're just like pushing it off. But, and I think if I understood right, that Callagy and Mueller are looking for other funds to extend that
Right.
already. So
right.
that's, he's helping right there. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but nothing's guaranteed, right? So
Right.
I think if, in what I'm listening to you, you've kind of already come to a conclusion already. So what's the point of, you're kind of beating a dead horse in another month? I don't understand.
Well, I
What you're coming
appreciate
back for.
what you're saying, but I think that I would go with the committee's vote and the fact that you did vote to have them come back. And I want to respect that and I agree with it.
Yeah, it's just cost money.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your input.
Yeah,
Crystal?
Bridget has a point. I
Taxpayer
mean,
money.
they've already given us all the information. The only thing we're asking for is
I'm
extended
sorry, what'd
funding.
you say? Taxpayer money?
Yeah, I
I
mean, we're
didn't hear
asking these people to come back to have them do that, and I don't think you're gonna get any more in a month. I mean,
Okay, go
it's
ahead,
fine, go
Crystal.
ahead,
No,
I
so
just
my-
think it's a waste of
So instead
time.
of agendizing, why don't we just ask them to get on Zoom, give us any update for next month? If
Okay.
anything did come across, that way he's just keeping us in the loop. And if any
Okay.
of us have any ideas.
I'm
we
going to
can
what
either-
she said, which was for us to think it over, which I think was a very gracious and something that we've sought out is for, because often we can't think of things right in the midst of things and we do need the time to think it over. I appreciate what you all, what you're saying as committee member and what she says a public member. Olivia, if I
Yes.
have a discussion after a vote has been taken to have them come back, do I have to do anything now? What is the logistical on this?
That you're having a discussion about the environmental
that-
health
A
returning?
vote has been passed for them to
Correct,
come back. So
correct,
that's been done.
correct.
But a public member and a committee member has brought up concerns about that. Am I supposed to do anything now or what am I supposed to do? I'm not familiar with the protocol.
I would remain with the motion.
Okay. All right, so.
And also just a reminder, we're really on tight schedule right now with 2 more items to go.
Okay, so moving ahead next, thank you very much, and I appreciate what you all said.
Thanks, Heather.
And Natalie, just a heads up, I don't know that we're gonna have time to visit the last item, which is the workshop summary. We are extremely tight on time.
That's okay, we can move it to the next meeting, thank you.
You might want to ask, to have the last item just move to the next agenda now,
Yeah,
so they don't wait.
yeah.
So the next thing on the agenda is on the regular agenda, item number 12, Peter Markey and Son Farms. Yes,
Clarification, are you referring to item 13, where I've been using 64?
No, 12.
it was Olivia that mentioned it, not me.
No, I was talking about the AAC workshop, item 14.
14. She's talking about 14.
I'm talking about item 14.
That's what you asked her
My
directly,
bad.
because-
She just said it's not 13.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
In the
Bye.
future, we should all just talk directly, please. Thank you. Next, as I was saying, our regular agenda item, owner applicant Peter Markey and Son Farms Smiling Dogs, Conrad Baylor. Conrad, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, please correct me. It's file number PLN 2021-00432. Location is 123 Seaside School Road, San Gregorio. Assessor parcel number 081250030. It's a consideration of an after the fact coastal development CDP, planned agriculture permit, architectural review permit, and kennel permit to allow a dog walking operation for a maximum of 75 dogs per day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., no weekends, within a fenced 23-acre portion of the 150-acre parcel and legalize a 5-stall carpet structure and 3 cargo storage containers that support the dog walking operation. The project is located in the Cabrillo Highway State Scenic Corridor. The CDP is applicable to the Coastal Commission. Project planner is Summer Burleson, who's with us tonight. Action request of the AAC provide a recommendation to the Planning Commission on the subject application. Summer.
Thank you. Summer Burleson, San Mateo County Planning. I'm going to introduce Conrad Thaler, the project applicant, who has prepared a short presentation on the project.
Good. Are you gonna run a couple
Yeah,
slides? Good. Yeah, Conrad Thaler, thank you very much. We've been working for 5 years on this one. Thank you, Summer. And thank you, members of the AAC, for spending time to provide a recommendation to the Planning Commission. Do we need to open windows? It's been really stuffy in here. So for what it's worth.
These all open.
No, they're all closed, right?
I assume they do.
Then, yeah, let's see. So maybe just a couple of sentences about me. I grew up in Bavaria, so forgive me my broken English. I have a master's degree in organic farming. Some of you may know me actually because I also have 10 apiaries out here on the coast, so they are registered and I have an applicator license. And also, Kelly, I just signed up for 2 days for 2 tickets for the Veterans Day. So it's $81, and I was there last year. If anybody is on the fence, this is worth. The venue is fantastic. Then, yeah, I had a permit before. I have done dog walking for 25 years now, since 2000. For the first 20 years, I was in Pescadero, and I had a permit out there. Then the property got sold, so that's why I moved to the current one 5 years ago. Do you want to make the slides?
Yeah, I'll just run through them.
Okay, because it's sort of a little background where people look at it as I talk, but most of it is already said. This is some of you may have actually seen the vans that say Smile and Dogs on it. We pick up usually about 10 to 15 dogs per van over the hill, bring them out here, and we exercise, walk them on 23 acres. There's fencing, so all the dogs are fenced in. And by 3 o'clock, we bring them back again over the hill, and that's more or less what it is. Smile Dogs also has a commercial property in San Carlos. That's where all the doggy daycare and the boarding happens. So this will only be Monday through Friday for 5 hours a day. Not sure if you, Peter, want to talk a little bit about the land. You're not allowed to speak at all.
No, I can speak, but you're doing fine.
Okay, so it's 23 acres. It's a hill. It hasn't been in any production for decades.
And it's not, so it's not prime ag land.
Correct. It's not prime ag. Yeah, it's just the perfect place for what I do. This is in a nutshell. For those of you who know it, this is 84. You can actually sort of see this is maybe a mile away, slightly on the hillside here. This is where Peter's house is. The fire happened more or less here 2 weeks ago. We actually were the first ones. We called 911 because it was somebody said there's a fire. We saw the smoke. Yeah. What else?
It is not in the Williamson Act.
It's not in the Williamson Act. I actually didn't know that. Yeah. Any questions?
So
I'll just jump in. This is an aerial of the land area. So
This
you can
is
kind of see
basically
this
the
is
hillside strip here. We are coming in here. These are 5 carports here. And this is basically where we're starting, and the dogs just walk along here and then rotate in those 5 fields. Every like half an hour, more or less, they just move into a different area so that they get more stimulation, and there's always different smells, and there's just some movement.
So they're completely fenced. The pasture areas are completely fenced.
Yeah, they're dog proof and dog safe, so
Here's
no
just
dog has
some
ever gotten
photos
out.
of the area you can see looking on the hillsides of the.
So this is the Blue House farm here. This was this was 3 storage containers, and this is the field where the carports are.
it completely out of the way from my farm program.
And yeah,
Carports.
these are the 5 carports.
And then I'll just add in, this is kind of showing the parcel with the prime soils area and the actual areas that are used, I believe, for the crop.
It's not going here.
Oh, sorry. Share. So the parcel, okay, parcel outlined in yellow, if you can see that here. And the shaded areas are the prime soil areas, which cover the areas where there's actually active ongoing
And this
farming
is where the
going on.
property, the hiking is.
And the hiking is out in this kind of striped area here.
Okay, so it's not.
So
on
not
prime soil.
encroaching,
It
yeah, not
doesn't-
on
it
prime
doesn't affect
soils.
farming,
It's not encroaching into farming or ag on this property or on adjacent
and it's not on the
properties.
scenic corridor.
And it is in a scenic corridor, but it's very minimally visible, just given its distance from Cabrillo Highway and from La Honda Road.
You gotta really look for it to see just a little bit of it from Highway 1. You gotta know what you're looking for.
And so the questions, this is not gonna show, let me reshare, sorry. Share. So we've done an initial study, mitigated negative declaration, basically environmental review for the project. We've circulated it around for a 30-day or 20-day comment period. There were some comments from Fish and Wildlife, which we'll be addressing by adding some mitigation measures to the project. There also is a component where there's 2 existing residences on the property, legal residences. One of them is going to be, there'll be a condition converting one of them to an affordable housing unit to be able to accommodate the dog walking operation on the property. And the questions that we have, staff has, reviewed against all of the PAD zoning regulations and LCP regulations and found that the project's consistent with the standards. The questions that we posed to the AAC committee are, will the project have a negative effect on surrounding agricultural lands? And if yes, are there any conditions of approval that you could recommend to minimize the impacts to ag lands? And then what decision do you recommend that the Planning Commission take on the project with respect to the project proposal?
Okay, so there's no, it's not on prime soil.
It's not on prime
So there's
soil.
no ag production there.
Right.
Okay, so no, it doesn't have an effect on ag land.
Yeah, we've found that it doesn't have any effect on ag lands, either on site or on adjacent surrounding sites.
And so I do want to disclose that Peter Markey, the property owner, is my brother, but I don't have any financial interest in the property or the project, so I am allowed to. Marilyn,
I move to approve the project.
do you have a second?
I just had a question.
Yes.
First,
Ryan.
just what kind of property maintenance, land maintenance, will it be mowing? Will
It's
it
mowing,
be-
yeah.
Okay.
If anything, it's moving.
And is like the volume of feces that could
We're
accumulate
We're
with
picking it up and we have
75?
a waste disposal at San Carlos property. It goes into the garbage, yeah. So every couple of weeks I go out with a trailer and bring everything back. BJ?
No, I just encourage the committee to pass it, because Conrad was on the ranch that I was on. I managed the ranch that he ran the dogs on, and he's very good, was a very good tenant. And we had very good relationship, and the owners had a good relationship with him, but only request I make is the prime ground be continued to form and not be set aside. Because if we start doing this to other types of operations on ag land, and you start doing better than agriculture, I see agriculture disappearing.
Yeah.
This has got to be a secondary to agriculture, in my opinion. It should be.
And it's not on
Agriculture
any
should be
kind of-
primary.
Right.
And I've been, Smiling Dogs has been a member of the Farm Bureau for 20 years. We sponsor the golf tournament every summer, and we're going again. So yeah, so I've been an active member, and it will stay that way.
So, and this is probably a really good example of auxiliary to agriculture that can help farmers with additional income and things like that, as long as it's not on farm. But, okay, we have a motion on the table to pass. Do we have a second? I'll second. Crystal Shea seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it passes.
And I excluded myself from.
And Peter recused himself.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. And thank you so much for the information. So next is owner applicant Eric Markegard, PLN 2023-00112, 350 Madeira Lane, San Gregorio, accessories parcel number 8081-320030, updated report, consideration of an after-the-fact plan agriculture district PAD permit to legalize the basement and first story of an existing cargo container storage building that was built without permits, along with legalization of a man-made pond and a water tank on a legal 25,253 square foot parcel. No trees were removed and approximately 98 cubic yards of grading was required for the pond. The property is located in the Honda Road County Scenic Corridor and qualifies for a coastal development exemption for agriculture-related development. Project planner Sunil Agarwal. The action request that the AAC provide a recommendation to the planning commission on the subject application. So the planner is here if you want to give some information, and if we have anybody who has questions or discussion.
Sure, thank you. I'm actually Camille Young. I'm making the presentation for Sonal Agarwal, who is the project planner, who could not be here tonight. You probably recall this the first time this came to the AAC. Feels like about a year back. January. Olivia, thank you. Perfect. I'm not racing through the slides because I don't care about the details. I'm racing through the slides so we can all get home. And hopefully you've read enough of the report. So the permits in front of you today for recommendation are a PAD permit and a CDX to legalize an existing cargo container building. It will be modified based on your feedback, as well as a man-made pond and a water tank on the half an acre parcel. Next slide. All right, so yeah, it's a triangular kind of odd shaped parcel along the road in the scenic corridor. Next slide. There's existing buildings on the parcel, so it's kind of like largely developed, I would say. There's a barn, there's a non-potable well, there's 2 water tanks and a pump house and a shed. No trees were removed. Approximately 98 cubic yards of grading was performed for the pond. Scenic corridor, and it does qualify for a coastal permit exemption. That's why there's no CDP needed, because it's agricultural related. Specifically, it contains a freezer unit for Markegard's meat products, agricultural products from a different site. Next slide. Okay, so there's many changes that Markegard has worked with county staff on in response to your comments. So it was a 2-story stacked cargo container. It will be down to 1.5, let's say. It was really like around 3, and then it came down to 2. Like basically the top level of the building will come down, but it'll be 1 story as viewed from the Honda Road, but 2-story on the other side.
So it says 2 stories. So was it 3 or 2?
It's 2 from La Honda Road down to 1 from La Honda
It was like
Road.
3 on one side that you can see from Madeira Lane and 2 that you could see from La Honda Road. So now it'll be like 2 and 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just taking off the top story.
So is this top story here?
No, that's not the right building.
No.
Is there
There's pictures.
okay.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm just gonna keep moving. We can have the presentation again.
Sorry, one moment, please.
Okay.
There's no way to make it full screen, huh? If it's not really.
So this will come off, that'll come off, and then a roof will go above these two.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 in 1.
Is it back, Camille?
No, not yet. Maybe it's, okay, here we go. There was no sound attenuation for the freezer and there was concern about the freezer being too loud. It was tested, it's not too loud, it still complies with the regulations. There was an illegal units as well as some illegal bathrooms.
I have a
Those,
question about the noise, ma'am.
oh yeah,
So I asked a question about the noise and it's right at the cusp, correct? And when you said earlier, does any of these projects affect the neighboring ranches or houses? I was never informed of them coming on my property and even asking me, can we do it from your house? You're in the shower, you can hear it. When you're in the bedroom, which is the furthest possible away from the building, the furthest window to the west, you can hear the building running all night long. It'll run about 10 to 11 hours out of 24. So if this is impacting someone's life and someone's ability to sleep, how can you go to the bathroom or even sleep at night without hearing that noise for 3.5 years? The county just entered my property without even asking me or even including me of where the testing was done. I saw the paper at 47 or something, which is right at the cusp.
yeah.
Now, would the county, if you inquire about the noise, wouldn't the county call you and ask permission to enter and include you into that? Ma'am?
County Environmental Health did the noise testing.
Yes, but they did not call me,
Right.
include me, they just entered my property.
What I was gonna say, if you let me finish,
Yes, ma'am.
is that I am not familiar with their, whether notification is required prior to their testing. So it's a process that I'm not, you
I
know,
don't
in
think
in
he's
terms of
asking
notification,
If it's
familiar
required
with.
for testing, I think he's asking if it's required to go on someone else's private property.
I can't even confirm for sure what
You would
they
think
did.
it would be, and if you inquire, you would be included into the situation.
Thank you for your comments. I
Ma'am?
think maybe perhaps we can do some more around noise screening, but if you just let me go through the presentation.
Ma'am, can you stop 1 second?
Okay.
Can I have one question, everybody? If we're rushed for time, let's stop this
Yeah.
thing and go to another month.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be here a while. And I
will-
appreciate you if you would respect and go slow as you can. This is a major project, ma'am. This affects my life, my farming product of what I produce. So I would like to spend as much time, this affects my life and my livelihood every single day.
I'm just
I-
asking to finish the
Yeah, but I think-
presentation
I think
and
the
not just.
The issue is, for every meeting, the county has said that we have to end at time. Every meeting.
That's
It
fine.
would be discriminatory to make it different for somebody else.
That's
just
all
because-
I'm not
so
saying that you
but-
can't. I
so
am
we
not.
Probably better not do that. So Olivia.
I would like to, at least, we have gone on rare occasions, extended the time. I know recently we went over time, so I'm not gonna go a lot of time, but out of fairness for the applicant and the project, I would like to extend this, at least for her to get through her presentation.
Well, then if that's the ultimate decision, I do have to say it needs to be fair among all applicants, because several applicants stood here just like this one did. And you said we had to stop at the time. And so from now on, regardless of the applicant, we will move forward because it's gonna be discriminatory. And
I can
for
also,
one
I would,
and not
actually,
for
I
others.
would also, I'd like to also talk about this offline, off the top of my head. I know I made that decision for the special workshop but honestly, I don't recall for other AAC
No,
meetings.
you did. It's on the tape as recent as the last two meetings. And that's okay. But I'm just saying it has to be fair for everybody. We can't make a different rule for some applicants versus others. It's just not right.
If the applicant is willing to let it go to the next month, why don't we just do it?
The applicant's not here, and I agree.
And I've been waiting since 6 o'clock. I really just
And
want
we
to finish.
appreciate that.
I
We've
know,
all
and-
been here too.
You
Yeah,
say
we've all
that
been here.
and every time, I'm gonna rush through this.
Yeah, we don't.
But you don't understand, we're all volunteers.
Yeah, this is
This
right.
is not our job. We're volunteering and we were willing to stay later. But while you stating
No,
that you're
it's
gonna
just
rush
the
through it.
interruptions. Do you mind if I just, and you can save your comments to the end?
Yes, I do
Oh,
mind.
You mind?
I
I do.
would say the committee needs to take into consideration the neighbor and the concerns. But go ahead.
Oh, I am as well. I am as well. It's
are
it's
what?
just the discussions are kind of
I'm sorry, we're just talking to committee, but go ahead.
ruining the flow, I guess. If you wouldn't mind, just out of respect for county staff,
Well,
just
are
to
we going?
let-
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
out of
no.
respect for the committee. Chris,
I'd like
you-
to make a motion to
kidding?
put this on the table for next
Right.
month's
Do
discussion.
I have a
so we
I
can-
second?
second.
Okay, the meeting's adjourned.
Well, you gotta vote.
No, we gotta
Yeah,
vote.
Oh, all those in favor? Sorry, I was. Aye.